Hello, this is Automat DEVLOG episode 4. Today, as promised, I will talk a little bit about how I design stuff with generative AI. So, to those who don't know, in Automat right now we are at the stage where we are trying to create an assembly environment. It's going to be composed of 3 parts: an instruction object, which is representing a single instruction and single command to the processor, an instruction library, and an assembler. So the instruction itself we already designed, and this is how it's going to look like. The last week has seen some work in this direction, so we have a basic implementation right now, which just shows the piece of paper with a border and a text. It's still missing some necessary elements, but they will come later. In instruction library, this is how the design looks like, and this is how the current implementation looks like. I can click on those roses, which will grow and show categories that I can select. All of them are placeholder categories. So we have this animation and a twisted deck of cards, or instructions, should I say. The next object that we have is assembler, and that one we didn't implement yet, but we have a proper design finished. This is how it's going to look like. Now let's talk about how do we design this with generative AI. I will talk about 3 things. First, what can you do with it, really? Something like that. And then I ask AI to generate over it, to refine it. So you can see this percentage number here. This is when I ask the AI to take this image and refine it in 95%, so it will basically regenerate it, but based on the base image that I provided it. So I generate a lot of those to have a lot of sample assets that then I can cut and combine together. And once this is done, the last phase of this workflow comes, which is the refinement. In the refinement, I take a finished image, and we could even take this image and switch this refinement factor to some low value, something like 50 or 60%, and click refine. And this causes the AI to generate a variant of the source image, but where everything fits together. So you can see it messed up like half of the images that I had here, like those were like proper nice icons. They are totally messed up, but if you squint your eyes, everything works coloristically and compositionally slightly better than it used to. For example, there is this idea of golden text on the card that works nicely, we could use that. So those are the 3 places where GenAI can be used in design process: initial brainstorming, asset generation, and refinement of those collages. Now, how to set this up? Here I could tell you step-by-step instructions of how to do it, but this field is moving quickly and those instructions will likely get outdated fairly soon. So instead, my recommendation is to install this environment called Krita AI Diffusion. This is an extension to the image editor Krita, and it's the best in the field. There are other competitors, but none of them come even close to Krita AI Diffusion. It's very good because it has 3 things. First of all, you can mix hand painting and AI generation however you want. It just works nicely together. You can generate sections of images, you can do slight refinements, you can also use all sorts of control mechanisms to force the image generation to follow your idea, to not generate whatever AI wants, to generate what you want. Then it's very good at tracking state-of-the-art techniques. When a new model comes out, basically within the next week, you can expect it to be available in Krita AI Diffusion. It's very good at this. And it's also very extensible. So if you want to tweak something, and I will show you what you can tweak, it's very easy to, for example, get custom models, get custom modifiers, and install them into this Krita AI Diffusion. So how to get better at it? first step is to read the manual. Very few software packages have manuals at all. This one has, and the manual is very, very good. This is how it looks like. You have the explanation of everything, tips how you can use this. Like all of the functions that this extension has are here. The next thing you should do is to check out Civit.ai. This is the probably biggest social network of artists gathered around generative AI. This is how Civit.ai looks like. When you see images here, you can usually click this I button and see how it was generated. Here you will see a prompt and sometimes more. When image was generated outside of Civit.ai, you usually get just whatever the author inserted here. But for some images, this one for instance, you can also see the resources which were used. For example, here they used Flux, which is a base model, which you can use if you are using Crit.ai diffusion, and they also used this modifier called Vintage Pulp Style, which you can download and install. This is why Crit.ai diffusion is nice, because you can get those extra models, download them from Civit.ai, and then use them in your generations. And this is a rabbit hole, basically without end, by just playing with new models, playing with those new modifiers. You can really do amazing stuff. This is probably the easiest path to get into this world. There are other paths which are more difficult, and there is the hard way of doing this, but this is probably the best to get started with. So this is it for this week. See you in the next one. Bye.